In the tapestry of time, every family has a story to tell, but memories captured in old photos can fade away, lost to the ravages of time. Don't let your cherished memories slip away. Digitizing your family photos is the first step to preserving your legacy. At Legacy Planning and Preservation, we specialize in preserving your family's history. Secure your memories for generations to come. Preserve the past, protect the future. Visit our website now and take the first step to preserving your family's legacy. Don't wait. The moments captured in those photos won't last forever.
One of the greatest empires in world history was the Mali Empire. The Mali Empire was one of the most prosperous and powerful empires in the antiquity of Africa. Its growth and expansion from the 13th century onwards was legendary and pivotal in the history and culture of Western Africa. The Mali Empire Volume 1 from author J.P. Martin, available on Amazon, is a book which provides the full historical record of the Mali Empire. From their control over the trans-Saharan trade routes and development of great cities such as Timbuktu, to their influential royal class who produced notable African kings such as Mansa Musa, Sundiata Keita, and Mansa Abubakar Keita II, the Mali Empire made a significant impression. This book is perfect for anyone interested in learning more about the history of Western Africa. Order your copy right now on Amazon. The Mali Empire, Volume 1, from author J.P. Martin. Go to Amazon.com and get your copy today.
Peace, family. I hope all is well. Thank you so much for joining. Hit the like button and please hit that like button. Also, make sure you share and make sure you subscribe. Thank you so much for joining. It really means a lot. Thank you for rocking with me on a Tuesday night. Let's see, we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. Everyone, thank you again. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for rocking with me on a Tuesday night. Well, it's Tuesday night here in Atlanta. Starting to warm up. Thank you so much. Thank you. It's starting to warm up. I miss Africa, though. But I will be back in Africa. Hold on, let's focus. Come on, focus. There we go, bam. I'll be back in Africa in May for the Jazz Festival, for Dakar Art and the Jazz Festival. And if you would like to join us, please visit Donfo. That's DANFO .Africa. Please visit Donfo. That's DANFO .Africa. And guys, when you go to the site, join the subscription, join the email list so you can receive the newsletter. I'm always sending out, information and data and updates and articles and, everything when it comes to Africa in regards to travel to Africa, citizenship, interesting news and facts, and updates on Donfo. So please go to donfo.africa. Make sure you subscribe to the newsletter. We are rolling to Senegal May 12th through the 22nd. Again, May 12th through the 22nd. We are rolling to Senegal May 12th through the 22nd. We're going to have a great time in Senegal. Senegal has the best food in Africa, the best art in Africa. If you're into good food, if you're into art, like collecting art, and if you're into music, this is the trip for you. Again, this is the trip for you. So we are rolling to Senegal once again, May 12th through the 22nd for the Jazz Festival and Dakar Art, which is one of the largest contemporary art installations or festivals in West Africa. So we're going to both the Dakar. So the Jazz Festival is held every year, and Dakar Art is once every 2 years. So while Dakar Art is going on, we will just happen to be in Senegal. So I'm like, listen, why not hit that up as well? So if you're into shopping, if you're into art, Dakar is a whole different vibe. But if you're into good food, Senegal has the best food. So go to donfo.africa to learn more. If you have not bought the documentary In Search of Uhuru, if you have not bought my documentary In Search of Uhuru, oh, let me get the banner going at the bottom. There we go. If you have not bought my documentary In Search of Uhuru, please go to searchforuhuru.com. Please go to searchforuhuru.com. Click on that link. It will take you to this page right here. And the documentary is $10.99. You can watch the documentary. You can stream it as much as you want to. It's like you stream it online. So you set up, once you buy it, you shout out to Yvonne. I just got your subscription pop up. You are a part of the family now. Not saying y'all ain't part of the family, but Yvonne, your family. The pyramid, no, there's not. Okay, let's not put out misinformation. There's not. So go to searchforuhuru.com and you can purchase the documentary. It's streamed. You can watch it wherever you're at. Just log into the site, and there you go. And you can view the best documentary on, building that bridge and reconnecting back between Africa and the diaspora in Africa. There we go. So please go to searchforuhuru.com. Link is in the banner down there to learn more. All right, let's jump into today's topic. Oh, oops. Let's jump into today's topic. Is it self-inflicted? In fact, let me play this video first. This is one of my favorite Kamala Harris interviews, y'all. This is one of my favorite Kamala Harris interviews. But let's step back a little bit more. We're gonna get there. Let me play this. No, it's not. Okay, it's not the pyramid. It's not. All right, it's not been declared that. Let's step back a little bit. Hold on, we gotta step back a little bit. So, Joe Biden, Sleepy Joe Biden, who the Black community took credit for putting him in the White House, who the Black community took credit for, the Black community took credit for saving democracy and saving the Democratic Party, who the Black community demanded that Joe Biden put Black women into positions of power on his cabinet in reward because the Black community saved Joe Biden, said himself that his top two priorities were immigration and the alphabet community. Again, so Glory, this is the thing. Any Black man that allows himself to be bullied in his own household, I don't know. I don't know what to say. Because you have a point there, but we're not going to feel sorry for Black men. Again, we're not going to feel sorry for Black men because Black men were scared to put their foot down. I'll give you a prime example. I know several Black men who told me that they had to vote for Sleepy Joe because they mama and them wasn't going to allow them to come over and have Thanksgiving dinner. I know several Black men who said they had to vote for Sleepy Joe because, there's going to be problems in the house. So now, don't feel sorry for black men. I'm dead serious. I promise you, you do not understand the number of black men I spoke to who said, Dynas, I got to vote for Sleepy Joe because my mama and them said I can't come to Thanksgiving dinner if I don't. I got to vote for Sleepy Joe because I got to keep peace in the house, Dynas. I got to keep peace in the house. This is where black men are at right now. So we're not going to feel sorry for him. And in fact, I'm not going to use the word bully. I'm not going to use the word bully. Those are facts. So don't feel sorry for black men. Hold on, goddamn, get back and forth. There we go. Don't feel sorry for black men. But let me play this video real quick. So that's Sleepy Joe. Here we go. Let's run through this ad real quick.
Today, I want to talk about how to grow the African-American middle class and to provide
Donald
a
Trump.
new deal for Black America. That deal is grounded in 3 promises: safe communities, great education, and high-paying jobs. My vision rests on a principle that has defined this campaign right from the beginning, and you've seen where we've come from and where we are right now. It's called America First. Every African-American citizen in this country is entitled to a government that puts their jobs, wages, and security first. One of the greatest betrayals has been the issue of immigration. Illegal immigration violates the civil rights of African Americans. That's what's been happening.
This is what black people voted against. This is what black people voted against. So are black Americans being replaced by migrants? Is it self-inflicted? Absolutely. Now I'm putting replace in quotation marks. This is what you guys voted for. Well, obviously not for Trump. You guys voted for the replacement. This is Trump in 2016 telling you this is what's gonna happen. This is how the shit's gonna work. Tell me when Kamala Harris and Joe Biden were talking like this. Tell me when Hillary Clinton was talking like this. Tell me when. Hold on. Let me run this back.
And where we are right now. It's on a principle that has defined this campaign right from the beginning. And you've seen where we've come from and where we are right now. It's called America First. Every African-American citizen in this country is entitled to a government that puts their jobs, wages, and security first. One of the greatest betrayals has been the issue of immigration. Illegal immigration violates the civil rights of African Americans. That's what's been happening.
I mean, here you go. Here you go. Meanwhile, this is where we're at now. Well, not we as in we, where y'all at. Like not we as in we. This is where y'all at. This is where y'all at now. Okay, this is what you guys voted for. This right here. Hold on. This is what you guys voted for right here. Hold on. Fair use, O'Shea. Fair use, O'Shea. Fair use. Fast forward. Vote blue no matter who. Here we go. I feel where you're coming from, but those are just feel good words. Bro, was this immigration problem that black people are complaining about now, was it going on under Trump at this level? Yes or no? Okay, I'll rest my case.
Democratic Party, we're watching you.
Yeah.
We are disappointed.
Right.
We are angry.
Yes.
We are offended. And we feel like we're being mistreated, misused, and disrespected.
What you guys voted for is what you voted
We
for.
will not continue to be disrespected by the Democratic Party.
Yes, you will. Yes,
As
you
I
will.
said yesterday, and I'll say today and tomorrow, if you're an independent candidate, Green Party candidate, Republican candidate, now is your time in this city.
Chicago is one of the rest havens for African Americans, and it has been for years. The birth of gospel music allegedly happened in Chicago at Mount Pilgrim Baptist Church. And a lot of things have happened for African Americans in Chicago. There have been so many great things occurring, and now, unfortunately, so many concerning things happening for this great city with a large African American population. Keep in mind that Chicago is the third biggest economy in the entire nation, which automatically makes it one of the greatest economies on planet Earth. But I digress. We all know what's going on in these major Democratic cities like Chicago and New York that's occurring, such as the migrant crisis. And the migrant crisis is not only hurting the city of Chicago as a whole, in particular, it's hurting African American residents. And it's gotten so bad that the mayor, Brandon Johnson, is really getting a lot of heat, especially since he's acting as if all of this is so cool. But it's not so cool. Here's what Brandon Johnson just dropped yesterday as a news clip, and let's talk about it.
Mayor Johnson is celebrating the involvement of Black and brown businesses and feeding new arrivals. This morning, he dropped by BJ's Fresh Market and Bakery. He was there to shine a light on the $17.6 million invested in small Black and Latino-owned businesses in Chicago by the Greater Chicago Food Depository in the state of Illinois as well. That money feeding more than 10,000 asylum seekers over the past 8 months.
The $17 million investment for these 18 Black and brown small businesses is really it really captures what I call the soul of Chicago. It's who we are.
Last May, the city of Chicago called on the Food Depository to help feed new arrivals.
Listen to that lingo. Black and brown businesses are feeding the migrants, trying to dress it all the way up. And of course, you always hear this Black and brown coalition. And no offense to who are the so-called brown individuals or the Hispanic community, but I would feel like a lot of African Americans or Black people don't necessarily feel like that coalition is strong. It really probably feels like the brown coalition is strong, right? But then remember, somebody in the brown coalition had this to say to a Black woman.
Money for you. Want to start a business? I can show you how easy it is to form one in just a few steps. First up, starting your LLC.
You work it. No more money for you. Bye-bye. No more money for you.
No more money for you. See, this is the problem. So, this is what Black people voted for. If you voted for the Democratic Party, this is what you voted for. This is what you voted for. If you voted for the Democratic Party, this is what you voted for. Because Joe Biden was very clear. His top two priorities were immigration and the alphabet community. This is what you voted for. Don't deflect. Nope. Don't be in denial. But listen to the sister saying, go home. So I was told that Black folks were going to vote for Joe Biden and the Democratic Party because they was going to be able to hold Sleepy Joe accountable. How's that working out? That's what I was told. We gonna hold him accountable. We gonna hold Joe Biden accountable. How is that working out? And the thing is, she's telling this guy, go home. You can't do nothing. Well, you can't send him back home. You can't do nothing. Go home. You can't do anything. You can't send him home. You have no power.
It's lazy. You lazy. You lazy.
You lazy. You lazy. And all you can do is yell, go home. And guess what? You can't send him home. He's home now. His home. Listen, his new home is called Chicago. That's his new home. There's nothing you can do about it. But could do a press conference complaining to Mayor Johnson. Motherfuckers say, you lazy, you lazy.
No more money for you.
No more money for you.
It's lazy. You lazy.
You lazy, you lazy. No more money for you.
You lazy.
You're laughing.
No more money for you.
Yeah, that's right. He called her lazy. Now, remember, Dr. Umar Johnson was down there not so long ago, but the mayor canceled his meeting. And this is what Dr. Umar Johnson had to say.
I was at the meeting last night, emergency meeting after the mayor canceled my event at the Karain Center for the Arts. We still had a powerful meeting of activists and concerned African citizens of Chicago. We're going to get into that tonight. I got to take an early flight back. But they are literally purging us. If they take Chicago, Black America is done. If they take Chicago, Black America is done.
See, this is the problem. What's going on in Chicago, what's going on, I would say, east of the Rocky Mountains. Black people like me who were born and raised in California told you it was coming. Told you it was coming. But you know what I was told? Diners, Chicago is a black city. It's a black city. Black folks run Chicago. We run DC. We run Chicago. We run DC. We got power. It was black power. We run it. How's that working out now? Like I said, black people east of the Rocky Mountains just think they are a protected class. Say it again, Breezy. You lazy. You lazy. You lazy. You lazy. Bruh. In your black city. In your black city. You lazy. In your black city. We run Chicago. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. How's it working out now? Y'all didn't want to listen. Yeah. Y'all didn't want to listen. Told you what was going to happen. But listen, you guys wanted to get rid of the orange man. How's that working out? How is getting rid of the orange man working out? Okay.
If they take Chicago, Black America is done.
Miles, turn right.
I heard that some of the Latino gangs are recruiting migrants.
Been going on in California, but no, Chicago, a black city. This is a black city. It's been going on. It's been going on in California. See, the problem is they want you guys just to focus on white supremacy. So all they do is throw white supremacy statistics at you all day. But what they don't tell you is that the cartels, especially in California, they're infiltrating the police department, the sheriff department. Same thing is going to happen everywhere else. But they just want to tell you that the white supremacy is the problem. They're not giving you the full story. Again, in California, there was a study done saying that the cartels are infiltrating the sheriff department, the police department in LA. But nah, this couldn't happen to you guys everywhere else east of the Colorado Rockies because it's a black city. It's a black city. So all these black politicians, all they had to do was just tell y'all that Trump is a racist, and y'all voted him in. They didn't have to do anything else. All they had to say was Trump is a racist and a white supremacist, and y'all voted him in, voted him out, and put Sleepy Joe in.
I heard that the migrants are being armed with weapons. I heard that the migrants are being set up to vote in next year's presidential election, although they are not citizens. The corrupt Chicago electoral process will allow the migrants to vote next November. The migrants are getting food, clothing, shelter, childcare, while hundreds of thousands of Black Chicagoans are struggling. They're using your tax dollars to finance people who don't like you. They're using your tax dollars to finance people who don't like you.
And not only is the migrant crisis affecting Chicago, it's affecting other places, like its smaller towns and suburbs like the village of Doon, which has a mayor by the name of Tiffany Hinyard. We'll get to her another day. Here is Trustee Belcher complaining about the migrant crisis affecting her in the city of Doon.
As everyone knows and has seen what's going on with migrants coming to different communities and kind of like taking over. In so many words. Right now, I just feel that the village of Doon, we don't have the resources for the migrants. We don't have locations, and we definitely don't have the public safety as reference to police to man type of individuals that may come in, not to stereotype anyone, but individuals that may come in and we can't control the narrative or the situation. With the unscheduled buses, as other South suburban communities have done, they were giving the buses fines if they were dropping them off or making them leave. Now, I don't know, and I guess that's why it's for discussion, because we would have to look into how are they fined, what the fine is, and if a bus does come to drop off, do a drop off, how do we regulate them leaving with just by our ordinances. So it has been it's through a lot of different communities. We just don't have the resources. I know a lot of people, they need homes, they need shelter, they need things that some of us need also, but we don't have the resources as a community right now, especially with our financial situation also, to put that burden on the community. So if we can just start implementing some type of regulations to stop the buses, then we can start putting in place so we don't have more squatters than we already have in those type of issues.
Now, with so much money being spent in Chicago on migrants, well, the question is, What about the citizens of Chicago? What about their needs? Even in Doon, Illinois, which is a poor city, it's a village outside of Chicago. There are people who have needs and desires that are not being met, and migrants are occupying the spaces of African Americans' homes and shelters. Because you have to remember, Doon is like 90% African American. And this is not a diss video towards migrants or immigrants. But the reality is that, well, if it was the opposite way around, would African American migrants be able to be on the streets in those countries? I'd probably say hell no. It wouldn't go that way around. And then, there's a rally call where migrants are asking for more resources, and you have politicians signing this bill. I know it sounds crazy, but check this out.
Dozens of people rallied in Chicago today for a solution to the city's migrant crisis. The Illinois Coalition for Immigrant and Refugee Rights held its annual summit in Pilsen. Their community groups, activists, and labor unions joined together, calling for solidarity and support for migrants.
We are way overdue in creating a system of migration to this country that is rooted in compassion and in justice.
A number of elected officials pledged their own support for the coalition's policy platform, which includes calls for immigrant health care and more funding for community services.
Well, who do we have to blame for this? Unfortunately, ourselves.
I agree, O'Shea.
The year is 2008, and there was a young...
Newsflash, you don't need IT certifications to earn six figures in tech. I know you've been told if you...
man or a younger man running for the presidency of the United States. He's running against Senator John McCain. I believe we all know who this young man became. Senator Barack Obama, who then became President Barack Obama. Now, my mother at the time told me, hey, you need to get out and vote. It's the first time I've ever voted. And I was like, well, who do I vote for? Well, when you get to the ballot, vote Democrat down the line. Don't vote for anybody who's Republican, just vote Democrat. Okay, so I go into the voting booth and I did just that. I voted for Barack Obama. I voted for whoever else was there, and I just voted down the line. Now, I was excited when the guy got into office because many young people, such as myself at the time, went out and voted for him. But oh yeah, I didn't know what his agenda was. And he didn't need to have an agenda for me to vote for him because, well, as long as you're Democrat, just vote for them. The question is, what have Black people gotten for their votes? And here's what typically happens. We're going to get upset. We're going to get pissed off. We're going to complain about migrants. We're going to complain about budget cuts. We're going to complain about our police staff not having the funding to do things. And then the next election, yeah, you got it. We're going to vote down the line Democrat. And that is the problem with us as a community.
And that's why I'm saying I won't believe, like, all this complaining is just complaining. I won't believe it until the elections come November to see what Black folks actually do.
We don't have respect for ourselves. So then nobody should have that respect for you. If you're a person that doesn't respect yourself, why would I care about respecting you? So the migrants, if they're going to come in and take your resources, well, you voted for it. You said it was okay. And there's even videos of Joe Biden saying that immigration was the number one concern for him. And we voted, and he definitely has shown getting immigrants into the country is the number one concern. Why? Because Democrats need new voters who will be loyal to them. So as many immigrants that they can make, citizens that will become loyal to their party, that's what they're going to do. At the downfall of U.S. citizens, primarily African-American citizens. Here's the skinny on this. As a Black community based in America, here's the great time that we should take part in getting to, 1, know each other, getting in 2, to connect with each other, getting in 3, learning how to do things and build business together, and to understand what our political agendas are. It's a great time to find out how to do that. There's no better time than now. And this is the time that we want to start learning how to respect each other, how to do business with each other. And I would say, have better connections for some of you who would like to do it. Everybody's not that, keen on it, but have relationships with all of the people in the Black world. This is our opportunity right now. We cannot miss it.
Hey guys, links in the chat room. Link is in the chat room. If you want to call in and add to the conversation, please click on the link. Again, if you want to call in and add to the conversation, please click on the link. Link is in the chat room.
Out on this chance to unite as much as possible especially the African American community, because we see what the plan is. And guys, we're going to be wiped out. The way that the Democrats are looking at us, they want us out of there completely. We will completely be replaced by everybody else. And unfortunately, you're going to suffer. I'm going to suffer. Our kids will suffer. And that's not what we want, guys. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy, Shirley Jackson. Back at it again with another episode of Kinganda. Fair use. We're out.
Casanova, go ahead, bro.
What's up, Dynas? How you doing, bro?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm well, thanks for asking. And y'all are spot on. Back in 2019, I had to stand on the corner of 71st and Jeffrey out here in Chicago, South Shore neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
There was it looked like a makeshift group. I don't know who it is. They call themselves the Revolution, right? And they headed by a white man. They headed by a white man with blue eyes, bro. Hispanics, and they out there like, hey, look at what they're doing to people on the border. And I'm like, wait, what the revolution? Hold on. Then Jill Scott say revolution would be televised. I started going off on them like, get the hell from off this corner with this bullshit, man. Do you know who opposed me? Black men were out there. They was right with me. Black men like, yep. Women, you making the block hot. You's making the blocks hot. Like what? Like I really had. I ain't say anything to him. Like you ain't my fight. Every man out there, they nod their head like, yep, It's the black women. You's making the block hot and feel like they got to.
Listen, man. We need to listen. We're black men allowed it.
True.
Black men allowed it.
I agree, bro.
So we gotta we gotta stop pointing the finger at our sisters, man. Because black men.
I'm not, bro. I'm not.
We allowed it.
Look at the video that you showed with the lady who was speaking. Do you see those big goofy niggas on the side of her, bro? I'm not blaming our sisters, bro. You see them big goofy niggas on the side of her not saying nothing. They just nodding their head. Why one of y'all ain't up there speaking? Why is she up there talking? So trust me, I'm not blaming our sisters. I'm blaming these niggas too. Because it was a few black dudes out there and agreeing with me. But where was most of the black dudes in the neighborhood? You know?
Yes, sir. Chilling and watching. Go ahead, Theo. Theo, you gotta unmute yourself. Theo. Guys, links in the chat room.
My bad. Good evening. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Go ahead.
Hey, so I have a little bit of a different opinion. For one, because it when I hear Dr. Umar, right, it's hard to empathize with the way he sets up his perspective, because it sounds reminiscent of how racist white folks felt about black folks, right? That protection, if you listen to what they were concerned about, rather it be the Ku Klux Klan, just students, young folks who were boycotting or just, felt like they were struggling against black folks taking their jobs, black folks ruining their neighborhoods. And I get that we were here. It's a bit of a difference because we weren't immigrants in the same sense. We were here, but they were trying to protect their segment. That's how they felt, right? They were trying to protect their segment of America from black folks. So it's almost the same, sounds the same way. We're trying to protect a segment of the earth from a group of people, right? And it doesn't sit well. And I know that, because of the capacity of the country as it stands, it does cause issues when you have an influx of people and you don't have the capacity to handle those people. But I think the solution to that is development. I think America has a lot of room for development. So whereas we look at what they're coming here to take from us, right? That's a mindset that can be broken, right? We should be looking at what they could be coming here to help us build, because there's plenty of room for development in America. But when you have a mindset not of development, right, of just occupying space that is developed versus, because if you look at it, you look at how, and this is not a criticism, but a critique. When you look at how Black folks, right, have moved, and not all, it hasn't been in a way of like moving to new frontiers. It's always been occupying already developed areas, right?
Yeah, but
And
Theo, we built this country, man. We built this country, man.
yeah, I know, right?
And I ain't going to Africa, man. I ain't going over there, man. Hey, it's just, I saw on TV. It's the roads are bad, man. The roads are bad.
Right. Yeah, and then see, look at that mentality, right? It's like, the roads are bad. I mean, if you're not thinking of like utilizing your energy and time to develop and fix and repair and construct, reconstruct, refurbish, I mean, all you'll be doing is looking to occupy spaces that other people have already developed. And if they haven't developed them, then you're gonna, just go into some corner of it's I don't know, man. I guess what I'm trying to articulate is, it seems that Black folks, and not only Black folks, but I'm just talking about Black folks right now, aren't developing much, right? I'm not saying at all, but
No, you're right. No, you're absolutely right. You're
right.
absolutely right.
So when you don't have development, right? So the folks who thinking about building, they don't have a problem with the immigrants, because guess what? They're gonna team up with them. That's labor, right? They're thinking about development. That's folks that can come in and help them develop. But when you don't have development, right, in your thought process, right, you're not thinking of employing people because you're not doing anything to employ people for. You're just thinking about being employed. You're just thinking about, utilizing infrastructure that is available, just trying to squeeze into the space, or waiting for, white folks to move out so you can move in. Historically, and again, it's just a bit of a critique. It just seems like, and even if you look at, I'm gonna jump across the pond, as they say, even if you look at like when decolonization happened, right? You have all these people who, instead of developing outwardly, they all just went into the city and tried to occupy those spaces that were built by the colonialists, right? And they just overcrowded into that instead of developing outward and making more infrastructure to accommodate the entire society, right? And so America has room for that too. America has plenty of room for more development to accommodate not only the Americans that are here, but also people who may wish to come here. There's plenty of room on this earth. And America, per square mile, America has a lot less people than other countries, right? You look at China. China has 1.4 billion people and don't even have the homeless problem we have, but they have a lot less land than we do, right? So our problem is one of a lack of infrastructure, big time, but we don't have the infrastructure because we don't have the labor. There's a labor shortage, right? Labor is pretty expensive in the United States. So I think if people just change that mindset, the solution would be to see how, people coming in can be incorporated into America in a way that they can contribute in a way that makes it better for those who are here and those who wish to be here.
Okay, Rob, go ahead, Robert. Unmute yourself.
Yeah, sorry about that. But Dynasty, I just want to say I know you have a very diverse audience, so we don't really have to expound on the topic too much. But I will have to note that we cannot advocate for Black male leadership if whenever we bring up the topic that Black women are the majority of the constituents that are putting in the Democrats, we're being counterproductive to the notion that we want Black male leadership. It just doesn't make sense. They have to be able to be called out.
Don't vote Democrat. Problem solved.
But you were just blaming Black men for just voting what Big Mama said.
Yeah, that's to me that's soft as hell. I don't get that shit. Like I don't understand like that. Like you don't understand the number of Black men I was like that are like I had to vote for Biden because my grandmama, my mama, my wife. I'm like, God damn.
So, but what do the numbers say? The numbers say that Black women are voting in the Democrats
That the
majority. And
the numbers are still saying that the majority of Black men who vote are voting Democrat.
So whenever they said that Black women are the ones that won the Democratic Party, that was false.
It's true and false because it was Black men and Black women, but it's just that with the Democratic Party that they're gonna put Black women up front.
Okay, so we can get past that.
But you're seeing you see how that's working out though. Like you see what's going on with Fannie Willis, you see what's going on with the lady in Dothan, Illinois. It's starting to backfire now.
Right. And I just wanted to speak on what Theo said. We can't. I understand what you're saying about maybe being soft on immigration, but we can't escape the fact that we're having a trouble with illegal immigration. So even though immigrants make up a large amount of the like hard labor force, a lot of Black Americans don't have businesses. So we aren't really benefiting from all of these illegal immigrants coming through. And I'm not one of those new LLC guys who are just telling everyone to go out and start businesses, because starting a business is very risky, and 90% of businesses fail, and people need to be able to pay their bills. In actuality, most millionaires in America are created by having a W-2 job and continually investing into your 401k until you're 65 and owning a paid off house. So even though it sounds super cool, hip, millennial to be out here starting all these businesses and shit like that, in reality, most of these businesses are failing. Everyone isn't Warren Buffett. Everyone isn't the Walmart and Amazon and everything like that. It sounds good, but we have to stick with reality at some point. Most of us just have jobs, bro.
Right. No, I agree. I definitely agree with you that just, that whole push, LLC. Yeah, that's, the stuff that becomes trendy. I agree with you. It's definitely, it was a trend. The CEO at one point, the LLC, the generational wealth, the billion, mindset, all of that stuff is very trendy, and it's not feasible for everyone.
Yeah, you're making a great point. I don't see that as much as I did like a couple years ago.
Right, because it was just trendy. These catchphrases, they trend for a while and then they die down, right? But it's not, I think the problem is also is that it's not always about being super rich. Like going into business doesn't have to be about being wealthy. It can just be a livelihood, right? It can just be something to, make money. I think all too often people are just looking at all aspects of economic endeavor as becoming rich and famous, right? It comes from television. It comes from just this how social media has pushed these lifestyles down our throat, that we should just be chasing the money, right? Sometimes it's just good enough to have a livelihood, to live a decent life. And when you can dial back and realize what is enough, I think the anxiety about losing, things, disappears or it isn't as pronounced because we're wealthy, man. And for the most part, if you travel, you realize that, man, we're a wealthy country. Like the average person in the United States, don't get me wrong, there are homeless people, there are people who go to bed hungry. But for the most part, we're a very wealthy country. The resources are here. We have the capacity for more people to come here. It's just about figuring out how do we make America work for everybody who's here and for those who desire to be here. And I think part of that is dialing back the greed, that individuals have and thinking more about the collective benefits of working together and just having enough, knowing what is enough and having enough and not getting caught up in, this lifestyle that we're afraid of losing that we really don't have or need.
Okay, guys, links in the chat room. If you want to call in and add to the conversation, click on the link. I'll put it back in the chat room. We'll close out in about 10, 15 minutes, but link is in the chat room. Click on that link and you could add to the convo. Kasha, you want to add to the conversation?
Yeah, I do have something to add. It may not be seen as necessarily productive, but it is something that I think about often. I think that we don't need to be trying to follow anybody's blueprint on how we should quote unquote develop. Like what we see as development today is really degradation. It's really bad for wherever you living at. So I think we need to step back from that and try to create our own little rubric. And maybe doing that, maybe we'll find and answer all of our problems.
Is there, guys, links in the chat room? Go ahead and click on that link and call in if you want to add to the convo. But yeah, this is self-inflicted. Robert, do you think, specifically Black people in Chicago, you think they're gonna vote turn Chicago red, or what you think?
No, I don't know where everyone's Black background comes from. Some people may come from well-to-do backgrounds. Some people may be middle income or lower income. I come from a lower income Black background. So most of the elders in my family are on Social Security. Most of them are on food stamps. Even the young women are on food stamps. And as long as the Democrats always lead with a government assistance face, we
Robert,
will
if I
always.
can interject, I'm sorry, brother, to cut you off. It's rude. Last election, a brother came on my timeline and responded to a post. I voted for Donald Trump. I'm gonna vote for Trump again in 2020 this year. He was like, "I'm voting for Biden because my sisters, they need help," and like basically what you're saying. And I was like, "What? We gotta do it for the sisters because they need help." I'm like, "What?"
Yeah, that's how they think. Like whenever you're telling a Black person who solely relies on the government, they're in Section 8 housing, they take food stamps and everything like that, you're basically asking them to go against their biological desires of shelter and food. They're always going to vote Democrat as long as the majority of the Black population, or not even the majority of the voters, get some sort of government assistance. It's a very hard grip to loosen with the Black community because a lot of us get government assistance.
Well, that's drying up too. So pretty soon, Black people is gonna have to be forced to,
Hey, Castro, you got a great point because Section 8 here in Atlanta, I remember the community, the neighborhood I live in, They were Section 8 up and down the street. Now, I don't know where people get Section 8 at.
Yep. It's becoming increasingly harder to obtain a link card. All of that stuff is drying up, man. The more money that they pump into this military industrial complex, the less money they got to go around for public aid. So yeah, you niggas gonna have to pick a side pretty soon, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, and I agree, but there's a long waiting list where I'm from. You might not get called until 3-4 years from the time that you even apply. So I think eventually you're gonna have to decide, and I think whenever they do decide, a lot of Black people will go red. But as of right now, as long as we still have that older generation intact, we probably still have a few years of blue, no matter who. I'm gonna be honest. Like I don't see it changing. The Democrats can do whatever they want right now, just like they're doing now. They can get very radical because they know that they still have the constituents here on the black side. That's just real.
Go ahead, Mr. Sandman.
Hey, what's up? How you doing?
Real good.
Yeah, that's what's up. Yeah, the Democrats, they got the female vote in the back pocket. You know what I'm saying? And they ain't just the Black female; they got the white female because they got that Roe versus Wade ruling in their favor.
Nah. Other groups of people. It's pretty much split down 50-50 for the most part. There's only Black people that vote Democrat the way we do.
Yeah, I mean, Planned Parenthood is big in the African American community all across the country. So, they employ a lot of people as well.
Have you guys seen that new cringe Planned Parenthood video?
No, I hadn't seen it.
Hell no, play it, Dynast. I haven't seen it.
Hold on, man. Y'all gotta see this shit, bro. Oh my God. And they using Black women as the face of it. Goodness, this shit right here is cringe. I'm gonna do a show on this tomorrow. Hold on one second. Let me find it. Hold on, let me play this real quick. Go ahead, Mr. Sandman.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying that it's that Roe versus Wade. Last time I seen Biden on television, doing a little campaign speech, getting ready for the 2024 elections, the whole entire constituency behind them were all females chanting, Biden 2024. So that looks like that's the angle that they're going to take for 2024. And as far as Black people, I think they are. I think the crushing effects of the inflation is causing a lot of middle class Black people to start moving towards conservative values with the Republicans as well. And even me, I'm saying I'm a registered Democrat, but I'm thinking about maybe moving over to the Republican side as well. If this thing doesn't get sorted out with the inflation as well. So I actually grew up a Republican, or I lean more towards conservative values as a young man. And then when I found out that, the Democratic Party elected a Black president, I thought maybe that they were more in line with some of my values as far as being a Black person for Barack Obama. But, in the long term, it's looking like maybe that wasn't the best for me, for the country financially.
Barack's Black?
Per American standards, he's Black. Per America. Yeah, per America.
He's of African descent, or at least 50% of them is. At least I think it is.
Yeah, but do you think you can be true to your own conservative values without wishing to impose those same values on others? Do you think it's legit? You can live a conservative life and still vote Democrat because you understand that there is a need for some of the things that Democrats advocate for, right? Yeah. So you can have those things in place and have those, let's say the social, safety nets or the social, benefits that, Democrats advocate for. You can have that while at the same time, right, through empathy, caring about that being there for people who need it, while at the same time living a conservative life, right? If you're religious, you can be religious. If you don't partake in this, but you don't necessarily wish or have a need to impose those same things on other people,
Yeah, I mean,
right? You don't need everyone.
Recently in my research that I've done to, all of the books that you read about, becoming wealthy in the United States of America, all of them have a basis on conservative values or a lot of it capitalistic values. And when you break it down from that standpoint, if you really want to be a successful person in a capitalistic economy, you got to kind of veer away from socialism to a certain extent. And the psychology behind it is, us as human beings were motivated by necessity. So when you take that necessity away from human beings, our motivation starts to go away. It's almost like we're close to the animal kingdom like that. If you had a dog and he didn't have to, and he's get domesticated and he doesn't have to hunt for his own food. If you put him out in the wild, he's not going to survive. And that's kind of like what socialism does to people, especially the man, whereas though his motivation starts to drop. So there needs to be a balance in between capitalism and socialism, because if you take that necessity away from us, our motivation goes away and we start to lose some of our foundation of what makes us men, and women. And then you get a society that gets turned upside down, whereas though now men don't know if they're men and women don't know if they're women, and everything's all upside down. So
you don't think cooperation is?
Well, hold on, let me play
Okay.
this. Let me play this video real quick.
Gotcha.
Virginity. What is it? And what's the big deal about losing it? Let me cut to the chase. Virginity is a completely made up concept. It's a term that was created simply to control and shame people, mainly women. A virgin is someone who's never had sex, but it's not as simple as it seems. For one thing, medically, virginity isn't a real thing. In some cultures, people place a lot of importance on the hymen, a thin, fleshy tissue located at the opening of your vagina, as a marker of virginity. But the status of your hymen doesn't actually mean anything. That's because having penis and vagina sex is not the only way a hymen can stretch open. It can happen by putting something in your vagina like a tampon or a finger, riding a bike, or doing sports. So you can't tell if someone's had sex by the way their hymen looks or feels. Another reason the idea of virginity is complete nonsense is that sex means different things to different people. Generally speaking, society tends to define sex in a very narrow way: penetration, penis into vagina. But where does that definition leave queer people, or folks who can't or don't have penis and vagina sex, and choose to have oral, anal, or another type of sex instead? And not everyone's first sexual experience is consensual, meaning that they were forced or pressured into having sex. There is also a double standard on who carries the burden of virginity. Society puts pressure on men for not having sex at the exact same time they shame women for having it. Make it make sense. Either way, shame has no place in someone's personal decisions about sex. It's time to throw away the notion of losing your virginity. What if instead of losing something, we reframe it as gaining? Because the truth is, when we make our own decision to become sexually active, we aren't setting ourselves up to lose anything at all. We hope we are gaining things like intimacy, self-insight, pleasure, and empowerment. All of these myths around sex and virginity can be so hurtful and overwhelming. But here's the one truth you should remember. Sex is defined by one thing and one thing only: you. Maybe that's being fingered for the first time. Maybe it's having anal sex. Maybe it's having your first orgasm. Maybe it's masturbating for the first time, or when you enthusiastically consent to sex. That's the beauty of your sexual journey. You're in charge, and you can figure it out on your own terms. Choosing to have sex, when, what kind, where, who with, is something that only you get to define.
That was one of the most abysmal videos I've ever watched.
Bruh.
Why did they have the unit of that lady up there giving, could they not get somebody else to give that message? Why she
Yeah,
gotta
I
look
think
like
that's the
that?
wrong focus though. But I mean, the message was narrow. Her perspective was narrow. But I mean, focusing on her, I get what. Listen, man, you focusing on the wrong thing. But the message was narrow. I mean, and the way she's framing it about the shame. I mean, the reality is, the burden of the consequences of sex are visited more heavily on women than men. So I think that's why over time, the idea, I mean, if you're a father, you understand, right, that your daughter having sex faces more consequence than your son simply because your son can go out and have sex, just thinking primitively, right? Go out, have a one night stand, right? From someone he doesn't know, leave and never know that person got pregnant, right? Come home and continue to live his life. Your daughter, if she goes out and has a one night stand and gets pregnant, comes home, she has to deal with that, right? Where, just again, from a primitive perspective, even modern, right? A guy could go out, get a woman pregnant. It happens today, so it ain't even primitive. A guy can go out, have a one night stand, come home as if it's of no consequence, go on with his life. Meanwhile, that young lady or woman who he had sex with, if she got pregnant, she didn't know who he was, right? They were just having a good time. She went home, and now 9 months later, her and her family is dealing with a child, right? So there's a lot more, for women to deal with just by default, other than the fact that, when you look at it like that. So women, I think it's only right that women are a lot more careful and discreet and responsible. Men should be responsible, don't get me wrong. But I think for the women's benefit, for their own benefit, they should be a lot more careful because the responsibility, the burden is often visited on them a lot harsher than for men.
Well, I
right?
believe
Well,
if
bro, I really think, man. So I remember I'm gonna do a show on this tomorrow. I remember when I was growing up, there was this artist called Marilyn Manson, white dude, and I just thought, just it was just the most cringiest shit, the most cringiest shit you will ever you will see, right? So I'm like, man, white people could do some cringy shit. Like black people in 2024, our level of cringe is the most cringiest. We are out cringing white people.
I agree. That's a good
This shit is weird. 'Cause I remember there was a term called white people. You got to change that shit to black people in now.
Yeah.
Motherfuckers is just cringe as fuck. Like what? Like black folks are cringe as hell.
It's crazy.
But do you think okay, even though it's cringe, what she's saying is really like a reality though. It's cringe, but I mean, people are actually doing what she's talking about, right? And some people are doing it, before they even truly understand the implications of what they're doing, like because there's no conversation around certain stuff because it's taboo, right? So a lot of things just go unspoken. It's like across your fingers. Let's hope, these young folks just go the way they're supposed to without even talking about real stuff, right? That might be cringe.
But
So
what they're doing is they're trying to get rid of the shame of having irresponsible sex. When I'm a person, I believe that there are things in this world that you can do that is still shameful, like killing your brother or slapping your mother
right.
or doing something to embarrass the family. I don't
Mhm.
think the solution is to get rid of the shame that comes from irresponsible activities. And that's why
Right.
this is cringe. That's why it's
Right.
cringe.
Right. It's not getting. I agree with you. Like, and that's why I say, like, okay, that was a narrow view when she's talking about virginity, because I think there's value to virginity in the sense that there are consequences that come with having sex. And so a person when you place value on virginity, all you're really doing is incentivizing delayed sexual activity in the minds or in the lives of young people, right? Until they're at a more responsible age or they're married, right? So that they don't have to deal with the consequences that can come from having sex, right? So I think there's value to. She tried to devalue the idea of virginity. I get it from it sound a lot of it sounds superficial when you put it in a religious context, or you just talk about the hymen or all of that. But really, it's just a way of incentivizing, right? It's superficial, but it creates an incentive. It's the shame. It de-incentivizes sex, right? Valuing virginity, right? And making young women or boys feel special for being virgins. It incentivizes virginity, and therefore it minimizes the consequences that can come from having sex.
Exactly.
And to the chat, excuse me if I sound like I'm rambling. So I'm a nervous public speaker, so charge it to my lack of experience.
Yeah, but I'm gonna do a show on that tomorrow. Like black people, we are just cringe in America. We can't say white people anymore. Like it's black people in now. We are just cringe like the shit. I mean, like goddamn, shit is just weird.
I mean, the video was directed for women. I'm pretty sure that they thought the audience was going to be the majority women, so they directed that message.
It doesn't matter. That shit was still cringe. Even the women in the chat are saying that shit was cringe. This ain't got nothing to do with directed towards women or men. That shit was just overall weird and just cringe worthy.
Yeah, it can give off honestly, it can give off like someone who is very over sexualized, trying to normalize sexual liberty. It just gives off that a little bit. Like, I don't know. I get what you all are saying, but I do think there's value to having conversations around stuff like that. But yeah,
I don't have a vagina, so I don't know what you're talking about.
In our defense, I think a white person probably produced that commercial.
Definitely, and when I saw this, I immediately reverted back to Stacey Abrams, when she said there's no such thing as a not an embryo. What she say? No such thing as a fetus. That a fetus is made up so men can control women's bodies. I'm like that's a white woman. Like that's a white woman. But still, can we blame the white man and the white woman? Like black people agreed to get on stage and say this shit and be recorded to do it.
it's never. I don't think it's ever a black or white thing. I think we all, we have commonalities based on race just because of the circumstances that are often based on race. But I think as those certain boundaries are crossed, through economics or through proximity in any type of way, the more alike or the less difference you'll see strictly based on race. You'll see some people who are just over here because that's their paradigm, and some people who are over here, and it won't be all. It is not going to always just be about race.
Yeah, it may be unpopular opinion, but I'm one of the guys who I don't hate, like, I got sexy reds in my family. You know what I'm saying? And I just see this woman as someone who was trying to she was casted for a job. And if we aren't going to provide the opportunities in order for her to support her family, then a white man will. And that's what they did with Sexy Red, and that's what they did with this woman here. So, everyone out here is trying to support their family. Like, should we have more morals? Like whenever we're picking jobs and everything like that? Yeah, but we can't expect everyone to be just so super pro-black and woke. Like,
Well,
it's
it ain't about being pro, but it's still cringe. She's being paid to be
no, I
cringe.
agree. I agree. I agree.
And you know what? Again, I'm a devil's advocate. I think the idea of that is once virginity is lost, because that's the reality, right? We're not in a a heavily conservative country where there's a lot of control. So more often than none, people are losing their virginity before marriage, right? So I think the idea of that, I could be wrong, but just playing devil's advocate and giving it the benefit of the doubt, is that after virginity is lost, you can't, I think the idea is to not have a person walk around with shame or be able to be shamed because they've lost their virginity. So I think they're downplaying the importance of virginity, right? For the sake of those who may lose their virginity not be married, right? So that they don't have to walk around because that.
I guess, man, it's still cringe. But everyone, listen, we got to go. Everyone, thank you so much for joining. Like, share, subscribe. Until next time, family, Dynasty Mirror, search for Huru. Peace.